Welcome to this episode of Talk 360 with Ivy Prosper. I am here with a phenomenal woman who is making a big impact in Ghana. She is in the real estate industry and making great waves, and also showing us how you can actually make it in the real estate industry right here in Ghana. And not only that, she's a celebrated entrepreneur in this country, and I'm excited to have this conversation with her today. So now I want to talk about something that is a major issue in Ghana. One of the big challenges, land.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that people need to ask before they buy land in Ghana?
Yeah, the main thing is doing your due diligence. So the first thing is you want to check the valid owner of that property, right? And to do that, you need to run your search at Lands Commission. But it doesn't end there. A lot of people run their search and then leave it at that. But there are other things you need to do as well. So one of the other things is check with the High Court. Are there any litigations on the land? Because yes, it could come up that Ivy owns this land, but what Ivy won't tell me is that, hey, outside of Lands Commission, you want to check with the High Court for litigation, and then you also want to check ground rent. Are there back taxes on this property?
There's people who don't know about ground rent.
Exactly.
What is ground rent for somebody who doesn't know?
It's like taxes that you have to pay on the property. And the thing about it is, you don't want to inherit somebody else's old tax bill, because once you buy the property, you are responsible for the taxes and utilities on that property. Whether you're buying or renting, because we've had people that if we didn't go in and make sure that there was no taxes or utilities, ended up inheriting it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So even like water bills that may be owed still, that they would now
they'll come and cut your water, electricity, and you find out maybe the owner was renting it out to a company before, and that company's electricity bill is like 20,000 cedis. Well, honey, now it's your electricity bill.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. I guess because individuals, a lot of them in Ghana are doing the prepaid that you load up, but the businesses are allowed to do postpaid, and that's how they end up accruing so much owed.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have even thought about that. That's a good one.
So be very, just do your due diligence. Yeah, and make sure that you are checking all these areas. But that's why we have the escrow services. They check all that for you. And, because what happens is a lot of times you find a good deal, you feel the pressure to make a payment to hold it. You put that deposit down, you do your due diligence, and you find out there's some issues with the land. And the seller's like, oh, well, I've spent it.
Wow.
Yeah.
All these things to think about.
Yeah.
And in Ghana, is it somewhere that you would recommend somebody who's never been into real estate, that this is the first
strategies? So we talked about the buy and hold for the emerging markets. We talked about cash flow, and something that more people are doing now is buying off plan and then selling at completion.
Yes, and people didn't really do that in Ghana before, but now with more like apartments coming up, because that's something that they do I've seen in Canada and the US, buying off plan.
Yeah, so people are buying off plan now because usually off plan, it's an easy entry, and then developers give great discounts, early bird specials, and that sort of thing. And then here in Ghana, it takes 2, 3, 4 years to build. So by the time the third, the fourth years come about, the property you bought, is appreciated, and so they resell. Yeah,
it's amazing. I really think about how far Ghana has come.
Yeah.
Because when I think about years ago, and I never really thought about it as a place for real estate.
Yeah.
But now I see how much of an impact it can make on someone's life as far as financial investment.
Yeah.
Now, do you teach people these things that you've learned along the way?
I do. I offer real estate investment courses. But those courses, so I do master classes, I do workshops. Those courses, usually 30, 40 people. But the real estate investment courses, I don't usually do more than 10 people. It's more intensive, and we don't just do, the in-person class work. we also go out into the field. So we go out into various areas and I teach them how to identify a good investment. So there's field work, there's practical work that's involved in that as well. And it's a longer course, and there's part of mentorship, so they're able to call me and say, listen, I got this deal. Okay, I'm like, okay, let's run the numbers. Is this something we can
This makes me think of a conversation that I overheard. It's not that I want to be listening to people's conversations, but I was at a chop bar some years ago, and there were these 3 young women who were like at the next table, and they were having conversations. And one of the young women said that she has enough money and she wants to go buy land. So she was telling her friends she wants to buy land, and do they have any suggestions as to like the area she should go in and stuff. Do you know what the advice her friends gave?
Oh no.
I couldn't believe it. The friends were like, why are you gonna go and spend your money on land? Just find a man who has money and has a house, and then you'll have a place to live because he's already got it, and use your money for your own things you wanna do and just enjoy your money. I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's the advice the friends are giving?
I'm so happy that you brought this point up. Let me tell you why. Let me pull your credit report. How much money are you making? Let's see what we can do. Let's get a valuer to evaluate the property. And what ended up happening is they had equity in the home. And so I ended up refinancing the property into her name. And because of the equity in the home, the loan to value was not 100%, but it was something like 50%. And the monthly payments, she could afford it. And so we ended up doing that. And today I can say that the woman owned her own home. And now she has taken charge of her finances. And she has an investment that she can pass on to her children. And so at that moment, I realized that this woman was empowered through home ownership. And that to me was a light bulb moment. And I said, wow, I want to empower more women through home ownership, and I want to empower young people through home ownership. So for me, that was the awakening moment.
Wow. I'm still like, my mind is blown to think he said he was going to get cigarettes and did not come back.
Yeah.
But you were able to help her.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I want to say one more story.
Yeah.
And this was most recently. This is the power of homeownership, right? I was speaking to a woman who lives in the United States and had been there for over 30 years. And I helped her acquire an affordable home here. And she started crying. And she said, Hannah, I'm so grateful because I always felt stuck in someone else's country because I could never afford a home. You have an Ethiopian as the local partner, but they would have a majority share. So they would have to own at least 51% of that business.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And, they are really, really loyal to their people. I think that's one of the things, but they don't speak English, it's Amharic, so we had to quickly adjust and learn Amharic because they were never colonized. They had Italians invade Ethiopia, but they were never colonized. So, so that's one of the differences here in Ghana. I mean, English is, prevalent, but not in Ethiopia.
So you speak
Amharic? I do.
Wow. I learned something new about you today.
Danastaline Ivy.
Oh, what
that
does that
means
mean?
Hello, Ivy.
Danastaline.
Danastaline Yenik Onjot.
Oh,
that means
Danastaline
hello,
Onjot.
beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Wow. So, today's been a really great conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk about what you do and empowering women through real estate. That's how I'm always going to think of you now, empowering women through real estate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for doing this. It's always nice to have people just even recognize and acknowledge you for something little that you're doing, and to be able to share that on your platform. I'm grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
doing more than just a little. You're
Thank you.
legacy. Thank you so much for watching Talk 360 with Ivy Prosper today. It's been a great conversation with Hanna Atiase. See you next time.